Hey guys, we are just talking about Soyinka and Chimamanda. People have called for debate between Soyinka and Chimamanda, and that thing we think that is supposed to be, because Soyinka, with all due respect, has overreach on trying to protect APC.
I have a lot of love for Professor Soyinka. I admire him. I respect him as a thinker, as a writer. I think everyone should read The Man Died. And Ake, his memoir, is beautiful, right? But at the same time, I disagree very strongly with him about this particular issue.
Yeah, I so much feel disappointed for someone like him that we have respected as someone who have once fought for liberation, fought for corruption, to stand so low because maybe, I don't know, maybe tribalism, or maybe he felt that one of his court members is about to be president of the country, and he thought about the benefit he has to have. But this shouldn't be
And actually, because I respect Professor Soyinka so much, I went back and watched the interview. I had watched it when it aired initially, but I went back and watched it because I thought, am I missing something? And I think fascist is a really strong word. Fascist actually often makes me think of Mussolini's Italy. But I think we use it now, sort of to address this kind of authoritarianism that's often populist and right-wing, like in Hungary, and even the former American president. And when you look at those situations, you can see why they have been termed fascist.
Guys, you see what is going on here. So our sister, Chimamanda, have just actually, treated Soyinka's ignorance, with respect. And I think that deserves to be, shared applause, or to applaud Chimamanda. With all due respect, Soyinka was so low, by using the fascism, the words he used, and to qualify, illegitimate election that was totally, before everybody, even the child, even children know that this election is being rigged.
And I did not see any reason that Mr. Dati Baba Ahmed's interview would have been termed fascist. I think he was making a very strongly felt point about the elections. What he was saying, which again I thought seemed fairly reasonable, is that if our democracy is rooted in our constitution, and you then swear in a person who's been elected unconstitutionally, then you are in fact ending democracy.
And the whole professor came out to belittle a lot of Nigerians who went there to do their thing peacefully. And not only that, it was a kind of problem now. Like, we find out that the main man that regulation, which is Yakubu, was a professor. Soyinka was a professor. So you wonder why these people will go to this extent to have qualification only just to come and tell people what do they call it? A fantasy story. That's what I said. Like calling Tinubu to be a president is a fantasy story that they want to make a reality. So it's kind of crazy, And I wonder how people like that will sit down and think that people will just listen to them. Now, these days, things have gone a lot digital. So when you use your English, the words you use, even someone who did not go to university can actually Google those things and know the meaning and see what you said if in line with common moral. Because what Soyinka said here lack moral capability, and academic wise it's kind of degrading to academic. So I actually suggest that a Nobel Prize should be withdrawn from him immediately, because the statement he made is overreaching. Like I said, it's overreaching, corrupt, and undermining of democracy. So Chimamanda was so kind enough to use a kind words to him, but with all due respect, as Soyinka being someone who have once actually stand for vulnerable people during his time, during the time of Chinua Achebe, and during his time that they gave him newly the Nobel Prize. He was, fascinating guy then. But, these few days I find him, what he said in this election, I begin to ask myself, is that Soyinka or somebody, I'm still arguing up to now to believe it's Soyinka, because he have not come out to rebuke that words and he have not come out to apologize or tell people that he's under influence of alcohol or maybe being intimidated or being threatened, before he went to the radio station or TV to broadcast such a nuisance. I call it a nuisance wars. I feel shamed. I feel shamed. The whole professor, I have a due respect for him, but since I listened to his interview, I thought myself, oh my God, I hope, I have been thinking about why would this professor go out of the country. The only good thing he brought to Nigeria was a courtism, which have taken a lot of lives of youth. He did not bring any idea of development, maybe idea of innovative. No, but courtism that have crippled a lot of families today. When their young ones went to university, they joined the court being brought by Soyinka himself. I thought he could have done himself justice by analyzing and standing by his words and doing the right thing for the election. Just, it doesn't concern. There's some extent if someone can attend to life that you just have to say the truth. How many years does he have to live? If we had to go by years of, inheriting this, health, how many years does he have to live? How is Tinubu more 10 yees or 5 years? Tinubu will be gone. Tinubu will not make more than 5 years. Tinubu is gone. More than 5 years, Tinubu is gone. So guys, why can't we just for the sake of new generation and say the truth? We have, our fathers, our grandfathers left a lot of mess for us. But we try to fix it so we don't leave mess for the next generation. But the oldest generation want to still leave mess so that we continue to fight generation cause from cause to cause. Then why do you go to church and say that every yoke of generation should be broken? What they are saying here is that they are trying to cause the generation to accept that crime does not, that crime is justifiable. That once you commit crime and get your hand into authority, that you'll be elected and the whole world will start singing your music.
Hence, you can understand the agitations, the disappointments from Nigerians post the elections. She made a number of statements, now going back to Mr. Diche's statements yesterday, around the fact that when we talk about fascism, INEC themselves should be the ones who should be seen as fascists, as they, in the conduct of the way PVCs were handled, disenfranchised Nigerians could be seen as disenfranchisement. It could be seen as taking the voices of Nigerians and not allowing many Nigerians to exercise their franchise. She also talked about and put to rest the fact that when you say that, oh, you shouldn't come and you didn't vote, people wanted to vote. She gave a personal example. A number of people who went out against all odds to register didn't get their PVCs. It was a big challenge trying to register in the first place. In getting the PVCs was another hurdle to cross. A number of people didn't succeed. Therefore, castigating people when they tried is quite unfortunate. And also the fact that every Nigerian citizen, home and abroad, has the right to comment on events happening. We talk about the diasporian contributions to Nigeria. So if we can take their contributions in terms of the monetary contributions, we must be ready to take their involvement in politics as well. A detailed interview, she'll have the opportunity to explain perhaps further her points. I'll end on this note. She mentioned in terms of the background, and I think that's quite important so that we understand the full import of that letter. It was to challenge the United States hypocrisy in the way that they push for democracy in Africa, yet are quick to support what seems like an undemocratic process. Therefore, if the United States on one hand can say that, oh, this democracy is XYZ, then they should also, or they are quick to criticize Africa's democracy, they must also be seen to uphold their stance all through. It sparks of hypocrisy if you talk about the fact that we are not as democratic as democracy should look like, and then be quick to celebrate what Nigerians themselves have largely said was an undemocratic process. A fine interview, and like Dr. Abati said, at the end of the day, the judiciary is where all eyes are on currently. They would be the ones to settle the matter. They would be the ones to decide. But what Nigerians are asking is that this is the final hope for many Nigerians. We are hoping that the judiciary would be fair, would be transparent, and would uphold the rule of law.
They are trying to tell us that Buhari, during his time, killed drug traffickers, which Kemo once brother was one of them. Then Buhari himself wanted to hand over to drug trafficker. So those people that Buhari killed, can they hold him accountable now? Because that's what is happening now. Buhari need to be held accountable for killing those people. If he believes that those people are right, then he's doing it now. He's handing over to drug trafficker. They're trying to tell us, it's a slap. They're trying to tell us that thousands of our brothers being killed in Indonesia, Malaysia, China, Thailand, Vietnam, all sides of Asia that our brothers being killed by drug traffickers. We all thought maybe they are, maybe they are influenced by money or something, but we never know. They are victim of circumstance. The environment Tinubu created, the environment these corrupt politicians created, lead these people to be a drug brand, and they think it's good for the world, unknowing to them that it's totally bad. So this is what they are trying to tell us, that you can be a drug trafficker, no problem. So I think we reject this. If you have not seen where illegal drug, waste someone's life, you'll probably be still supporting Tinubu. But if it have affected you, or you see family that are being ruled by their son or daughter or their uncle or father or mom taking illegal drug, you may see a very responsible and a very rich guy, but immediately his hand get to those drugs, their lifestyle change. You haven't been to, even in the city of Melbourne here, if you go in, you see grown up somebody biting his finger without feeling pains. You see somebody scratching his body without feeling pain, because they're looking for money to take all these legal drugs. So guys, I am a big fan of, capital penalty for drug traffickers. In fact, seeing what happening here is kind of like shocking to me, for we to be electing drug trafficker. It is a slap to millions of families that have their loved ones in prison in Thailand, in this country, Australia, in America, in UK, in China. Even some are still waiting for execution in Malaysia, Indonesia, China, Hong Kong, and Vietnam, Cambodia. Laos, a lot of them, in Thailand, a lot of them are serving longer years, 20, 40, 50 years for drug trafficking. Then today we are telling the family that, yes, we have to be electing drug trafficker, that what your sons do is okay. But we don't care about them. So before you elect Tinubu and swear in Tinubu to be a president, make sure you write to Thailand and all these countries and ask them to release those Nigerian drug traffickers they have holding for years, because what they are doing in your face is not wrong. That's how you train your society. This is what Nigeria is trying to tell us today, that if we are to swear in these people, we have to let the whole world know. Those ones that are being arrested in Australia for trafficking drugs, that Nigerian government say, no, this is what we do, and it's not, then they have to hold the Nigerian government accountable. Those ones that are being executed in Indonesia for trafficking drugs, those ones being executed in China, because this place is where they just kill you, in Malaysia, in Singapore, that this is what the government of Nigeria say, that those people trafficking drug is legal in their country, that the drug trafficking is nothing to them, and that's why they are letting drug baron today.